Yes. Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah, I definitely like to speak to that. I mean, yeah, faith, as you say, real faith comes when you've had an experience of something, and so you've been kissed, you've been touched by something divine, perhaps, and then maybe in those moments where that seems like it doesn't exist or is not gone away, the faith comes that you know that it's always eternal, that it's always with you, that you trust that it is. I once met a sheikh, like a Sufi teacher, and he said to me, darkness is nothing but the absence of light. And therefore, when aspects of like doubt and fear come in, those are just, they call it shaitan, you know, like the devil, that the devil comes in and he pretends to be, he superimposes himself in front of the light and pretends to be all and everything, when in fact the light is there all along. The devil's job is to show you, to tell you that the light doesn't exist, that love is not enough, that, you know, God is not there, that you know, that it's folly, that it's ridiculous. That's his job, and he's doing a very good job of that at the moment, you know, in an archetypal aspect. Um, I once had an experience in ceremony with the, you know, that powerful shaman that I spoke about in the beginning, where I had this experience where I was felt like I was drifting down into hell, being pulled into hell, where there was nothing but blackness upon blackness. Literally, I was in a full lit, moonlit room, incredibly bright, and then it was like a veil of darkness came down in the room, and all light just got extinguished, and I was terrified. And I remember somebody saying to me, in the ceremony, who I knew, just focus on love. And I remember the voices just, that's ridiculous, don't focus on that. And you know, that's a really common aspect of the shamanism as well, these voices, these aspects of doubt that whisper in the shaman's ear and trying to sway them off in a different direction. I'm sure you've experienced that, and many other people have. This, you know, this layer of kind of fundamental darkness that some forms of Buddhism calls it, that tries to obscure your you from healing or from light. So anyway, I'm sat there and I'm going through this fear and sort of being pulled into darkness, and I just start saying the word love into my heart, just the word love, 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 and I'm singing now the word love, and just there in the darkness was a small pinprick of light, very small. And I was like, oh, and that gave me a little bit more hope, a little bit more faith. And I started to sing louder, love, love, love. And as I was singing, the light just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And my faith grew and my confidence grew until I was singing so loud and the light was so big, it filled the entire room. I just completely dispersed whatever darkness this was. And for a very brief second, I heard this kind of clapping and cheering, and I saw all these spirits, these hundreds of spirits, like these old ancient warriors from the from the Amazon, kind of standing out. And they would look like kind of royalty and sort of clapping. And sort of left me thinking, like, I don't see any difference between, yeah, like I said before, I don't see any difference between, you know, what we call in shamanism medicine and, you know, God's love, God's life, you know, life, nature. These are all synonymous terms. It's kind of this thread of this beautiful energy which exists in the world, whatever you want to call it. And there's certain people who tap into it, and so that's faith. And when you experience something, and maybe you do go through darkness, and maybe there are times when you don't feel it, and that's okay. It's just having the faith because you've experienced it before, and knowing that you will come through the other side and experience it again, and knowing that you wish to connect with those sources of light and not those sources of darkness which try to persuade you that it doesn't exist, that you're an idiot, that you're doing something childish, because those voices are there and they're very compelling. And so I think because we don't have these structures, and actually I think there's been almost you can say what you want about Christianity or Islam or any of these religions, but a religion is designed to house, with all its rituals and all its, stiff bureaucracy and all these things. It's like the box which houses an inner truth, which is the more mystical side. And all traditions have it. There's a mystical side of Islam, there's a mystical side of Christianity. You can't just, not everyone is willing to go to a cave and meditate to experience the mystical side of Christianity or Islam. And so you need this kind of outer casing in order to house it. But what it actually houses is something very true. And you can only point to it through proverbs, you can only point to it through stories. And people point to the stories as being wrong, as some proof that the inner working, the inner mysticism is somehow proven incorrect and wrong. But that's completely the wrong way of looking at it. The stories and the parables are only pointing towards something of which people experience and trying to put these things into words. And so this box is housing this mysticism. And for some reason, there's been an ongoing effort in Western society for a long time, as Nietzsche says, to destroy this box and to throw away the inner contents of that box. And that's not a good thing, I would say, not a good thing at all. And we can, of course, there are, travesties of which occurred under religion's name. However, I'd like to argue that is, the folly of man that has taken those teachings and used them in ways which they were not intended. But to throw the proverbial baby out with the bathwater, the mysticism contained within the housing of religion is an incredibly foolish thing to do. So yeah. And why would you want to destroy that box and that jewel within it? Well, if why you want something else to be more powerful, you want something else to replace it, and so that's the only reason you would destroy that box. Or there's a and call whatever power that you will. There are many forces which try to put themselves in the place of that box. So
yeah,